Welcome. We are going to start inviting people in. Okay. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Let me just start off by introducing myself. Can everyone see me? And let me change this. Okay. So if you have any questions, put in the chat. I want to just start off with how can you get in touch with me? My telephone number here at the office is 404. I will also put this in the chat. 404-656-0126. I am also going to put the email address, and a lot of you have this already because you registered. It is mesha.mainor@house.ga.gov. And for those of you that are on Facebook Live, that is 404-656-0126. The email address is Mesha, MESHA, .mainor@house.ga.gov. I really want to hear from you, but I'm going to, I want to just share my screen with you. And I'm sorry for the people out there in Facebook. I'm going to have to figure out how to do it so you can see what I'm doing from the Zoom on another town hall. But first off, I'm going to share this. Let me let more people in. Okay. Can you see my screen? If you can give me a thumbs up. Okay, so one thing I want to just bring to your attention, there were a lot of people that actually registered that were not in my district, which is totally fine because I am a state representative and the things that we do cover all of Georgia. But if you go to a site like Common Cause, you can put your address in here. And we'll just use this address. And this will tell you who every single one of your state representatives are. From the state level to judges, to city council, to your Fulton County commissioner. So that's first thing I want to just make sure that you know of. There are many websites. The one that I do like is this Common Cause. And there's a tab that says Find Your Representative on this website. The second thing I want to bring your attention to is this legis.ga.gov. I am going to put this in the chat. And if you go to this site, this tells you everything that we're working on. So it tells you every meeting that we're doing. You can click here for upcoming events. So this will tell you what we're doing all next week. You can even watch the videos of the hearings. If you want to know, and this is legis, legis.ga.gov. If you want to know about the bills that I'm doing or that I'm co-sponsoring, you can put my last name in the search bar at the top right. And when you click on that, it will, these are the 23 bills that I'm working on. In this section, it says House Second Readers. That just means that this went through one day of reading, a second day of reading. This is the House Committee that it's assigned to. if you are interested in a bill, it has to go through the committee before it goes to the floor for a vote. If you're passionate about something, there are a lot of people that are keeping up with this. I'm getting your emails. That's why you're on this town hall call today. But if you were to click on the committee, I'm on governmental affairs, education, and state planning. But if you're passionate about something in economic development and tourism, what I would suggest you do or encourage you to do, you can click on the chairman, the vice chairman, and everyone else's name, and you can then email them directly and just say, hey, I oppose this, or I am for this. The other thing that is important about this bill, this website is, let's see, let me find one that says it. I'll go to page 2. Okay, so this here, this is House Resolution 111. When it says adopted, it means it passed. And now it will make its way through the rest of the process to become law. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is, before we go into the questions, because really it's all about what is important to you. Hold on. I'm gonna share. I'll do that afterwards. Let's open the floor up to questions. Do we have any questions that you have for me? And I think, since I am, okay, let me unmute. I probably should have done a dry run. How do I unmute everybody? Let's see. If you can unmute yourself, and we'll just start going into a Q&A. I don't want to talk about things that are not important to you, because there are a host of things that I can talk about. House Bill 388. Yes, I would love to talk about House Bill 388. So this is important, actually. House Bill 388 is called the Atlanta Technology and Energy Authority. This creates a zone just for 30311 and 30314. It is strictly for District 56. It's under local legislation, and right now I'm actually having a tad bit of a problem with it. When something is in local legislation, only local delegates need to vote for it. There are 22 delegates within the Atlanta delegation. I need 10 signatures to make this pass, and right now we have 9 signatures. There's a little bit of pushback, to be honest with you, from the other Atlanta delegates. Some of the reasons they wanted this program to be in their zip code, right? This is a pilot program. Once we show that this is successful, then we can move it to other zip codes. Why is 3011 and why is 30314 important? Georgia Tech and Georgia Power have deemed these 2 zip codes to be the highest energy burden zip codes within the metro Atlanta area. So what can we do for high energy burden areas? One, we can create jobs that they don't have. And what House Bill 388 does, it creates the jobs in renewable energy and technology. So we have a community where people may not graduate from high school, may not get a GED, may be a returning citizen, may need to just be mid-career changing their careers. This allows you to go in, get free training in a renewable energy job, in a technology job, and on the back end, you have a guaranteed job from one of our partners. So it's an incredible program. I would ask you to reach out to other Atlanta delegates and ask them to vote yes and to sign for House Bill 388. Okay, so explain your vote on Antonio Brown's legislation. Antonio Brown is in city council, so I cannot vote on any of his legislation.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
I couldn't get up on the website, so I'm going to do mine by voice.
Okay.
So, I didn't know nothing about the legislation, but I vote yes on it because we need a change in, communication with officers and the citizens in our communities.
So were you able to get if you just joined on, were you able to get my phone number so you can contact me?
I didn't get your phone number.
It's 4.
But, let me, get a pen.
Okay. And if there's some other questions, please feel free to put them in a chat. What about Carrie? I need to put my glasses
Carrie
on.
Calvary?
Yes.
Yeah, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with you on the question about Antonio Brown's legislation. I didn't mean that you should vote because I know you can't vote on his legislation at the City of Atlanta level. However, there was a piece of legislation that came before a committee that you serve on that Antonio was asking the state's support in the legislation that he had submitted, and the vote that you took appeared, and I don't know because I don't know what all was involved in that, the vote that you took appeared to be counter to what we need here in the city of Atlanta as far as public safety and coming up with a new paradigm for public safety in the city of Atlanta. And so I just was confused about that and wanted to know whether or not you could elaborate it if you cared to.
I would love to elaborate on it. So this was House Bill 286 that came up from Representative Gaines out of the 117th. What this bill says is, regarding law enforcement and public safety, you cannot take out more than 5% of public safety money in a year's time, right? Now, the city can take out up to 5% and redirect that money in any way they want to. This conversation at the Capitol, it turned into a mental health conversation, which is an important conversation to have. In fact, mental health is one of my priorities. The way the conversation went and the opponents of House Bill 286, they feel like we need to defund the police and we need to put money from public safety into mental health. My position is we don't need to take dollars out of public safety. We need to create dollars for mental health. There's not a swap between public safety and mental health. Some of the other conversations that people brought up during this debate, if you will, was so many calls from 911 are mental health issues. They definitely are mental health issues. The point that I brought up was the FCC, federal regulation, they just started or approved a 988 number. Right now we call 911 for emergencies for everything. July 2022, it becomes effective where you can call 988 for mental health emergencies. In District 56, everywhere in District 56, crime is up. Me personally, I have had to call the police multiple times for reasons. Police did not show up, right? If we take money away from law enforcement, if they're already not showing up, to me, in my opinion, taking away money means they won't show up even more so. So I did vote not to take money out of law enforcement, but I do vote that we need mental health dollars. Did that explain it?
Yeah, that explains your answer, and I may or may not disagree, but I don't. I may disagree, but I don't get to cast that vote, so I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this. The vote from committee, it then goes to rules. And since you are on, let me share my screen so I can tell you how you can still be active in this process. So if you go to legis.ga.gov, right? And you come over here to committees and go to all House committees. Every single bill that goes through any committee, it then goes to the Rules Committee. So you can click on this. The main person is the chairman. You can click on this and email him and tell him why you think this bill should not continue to go further in the process. And then you can email every single one of these people, because everybody on this list has got to vote for the bill to go any further. Me, I feel like we can take public dollars from statues and monuments instead of law enforcement. Okay, let's see. The next question is Jake Roberts. You have a question?
Oh, goodness.
Mr. Roberts, you have a question?
What in the world is this?
Okay. Clintisha Fleming,
I'm sorry, I was just trying to find my unmute. Just basically, my question would be around substance use disorders and monies going towards or votes going towards recovery community organizations, or as they're listed here in Georgia through the Department of Behavioral Health, is addiction recovery support centers, so peer-led programs.
And what's the exact question?
Your votes prior and up until this point that have either supported or not supported them, and reasons why you would or would not.
Okay. So I was sworn into office on January 11th, and we have not had any bills for me to vote on regarding that as of now. But if there was anything related to helping victims that have substance abuse challenges or barriers, I definitely support getting resources to those communities. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I'm sorry, it took me a little, got it unmuted again, but 100%, your support is, amazing and appreciated, and that's really all. I work in the industry, and all we ask for is support. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and you can record it and keep it, and you have the proof that I will support it. I am going to go. I saw another hand, but it disappeared. So I'm going to go back to Clintisha. If House Bill 4 gets moved along, how will that impact the charter schools that are already occupying APS buildings? I've spoken to parents and students that are negatively impacted by charter schools being in their spaces and getting services, programs that the public school does not have access to, even though they share space. I'm not against charter schools, just wondering if this bill create more equitable experiences for for children. Let me pull up House Bill 4, just to make sure we're talking about the same bill. And I will share this screen as I'm doing it, so everyone can see House Bill 4. We have been getting a lot of charter school questions. So let's see, House Bill 4. I can tell you I am on the education committee, but there are 4 education committees. One is academic success, which is the one I'm on. There's another one called academic innovation, and the other one is academic support. So as things are going through the different committees, as bills are going through the different committees, sometimes people have been reaching out to me, but I'm not on that subcommittee, so I don't have a vote per se on the subcommittee. So House Bill 4 is from Representative Scott of the 76. Love Representative Scott. And this says, prohibit a local school system from leasing or selling a public school in such system to a private entity unless such public school has been in existence for at least 15 years. So this is really trying to make sure that the schools have control over infrastructure. And she put in the existence of 15 years just to say that, you know, some charter schools are considered part of the local school district. Some are considered part of the state school district. But if a charter school were to just pop up and be in existence for less than 15 years, she's just trying to say whoever's doing any selling needs to have a vested interest in it. So she's trying to prevent a new school from being able to sell, or lease in this case, their building. Now, you know, another interesting thing about charter schools, and I see we have Greg Clay on, and he is definitely an expert in the school industry spectrum. A lot of people think that charter schools are taking money, and I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but I'm saying a lot of people think that charter schools are taking money from the local school system. Charter schools actually have to raise money in order for their operations to work. So they work by a board. Okay, let's see.
Thank you
Clintisha,
so
did
much
that?
for answering.
Okay, I was just going to say, did that answer it?
Yeah, you did. I guess I was the situation with Carver High School is the problem, and I'm not like you. I'm not for or against. I just want all students to have an equitable experience, and just on one side of that campus, students have access to AP courses that students don't have on the other side of the campus, because one is the regular public school and one is a public charter. And it's really created like some distrust in the board and in APS, and there's infighting within the building. And so I didn't know if a bill like this, you know, if I could talk to parents, if I could say, well, maybe you guys should write your lawmaker and support this, and maybe it will help that situation, but I don't think it will.
Right, that's a unfortunate event. Putting 2 schools in one building, it sounds like what you're saying. And for sure, the local school board person, and I don't want to definitely go down the road of talking about local school board. I want you to reach out to your local school board people, but your local school board determines what the curriculum is going to be. The local school board, if they want agriculture, if they want technology, whatever your local school board wants, that's what they vote on. So we don't vote on curriculum at the state level. I'm going to unmute Greg Clay because I think he wants to respond to this. Are you there?
Representative Mainor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, good evening. I just want to provide some additional context to what you're discussing. I apologize. I'm playing actually double duty. I'm on my Go Teams meeting tonight as well. But as you mentioned, I'm an advocate for not just more folks getting involved in our public schools that are charters, but also our traditional schools in the way that I spend my time. But part of the conversation is exactly to what you were discussing, the accountability piece. The charter schools that have these individual boards that govern their activities, we've got to also be more vigilant in the way that we talk to our APS school board members about the resources needed at our traditional schools. And so, my hope is that, as folks get to this point of advocating for more resources, more opportunities for our kids in our traditional schools and how they perform, that more people are bringing solutions to the table and people to the table to keep them accountable the same way charter schools keep their governing board accountable as well. And so I just want to add that additional context around just the layers or different layers to the many different public schools in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Clay. Ms. Salvery, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. I want to get some of the chat. This is from Rustin. Can you talk about House Bill 132 and what are you doing about other bills restricting voting rights going through the Assembly right now? So House Bill 132, in all honesty, is why I even decided to run for this position. I jumped into the special election for City Council. Mr. Greg Clay was in that race. Former super school board member Byron Amos was in the race, and our present City Council member Antonio Brown was in that race, along with a total of 9 or so other people. In this race, that race went to court for several different reasons. I was interested in that court case because Fulton County Elections was subpoenaed during the trial. And since I was a litigant, the judge allowed me to question Fulton County Elections under oath. During my questioning, it became apparent to me that Fulton County Elections, not the board, but the actual office that does the logistics of our elections, they did not have policies and procedures. So some of the questions I asked were, how often are your meetings? They don't have meetings. How do you process your absentee ballots? No set process. Who determines who's going to verify the signatures on the ballots? No set person. It could be anybody. So with that being said, if you go to any business, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's IBM, whether it's down here at the General Assembly, most people have policies and procedures. So House Bill 132 says you've got to at least, not just Fulton County, because I can't speak for other counties, I just know about Fulton County. At a minimum, you need policies and procedures so you can be accountable to some sort of standard. Now, what about other bills restricting voting rights? The Democratic Party, the caucus, we're working closely with Fair Fight and also with ACLU. And so every single bill that the Democratic caucus is put out there, I'm in support of. And I think for the most part, I don't think there's one single member that is voting against equal access to ballots, period. That's a no-brainer for me. We want people to be able to access votes as much as they can, anywhere they can. Now, with House Bill 132, you need some rules and regulations, though, and that's important because if you have mobile voting, you don't want your opposing party to say something wasn't legit because there weren't rules and regulations involved. So I'm for equitable voting. Hansel, what is the strategy to fight against legislation to restrict voting restriction measures like absentee ballots? So I'll expand a little further. Yes, we just sent 2 Democratic senators to the U.S. Capitol. At the state capitol, it is still run by a Republican majority party. And what does that mean? I don't care what bill that goes up on the table, the majority wins the vote. And so right now, Republicans have the majority. So the strategy, in all honesty, we need to have more Democrats in state seats, because it doesn't matter what we put up. If the Republican Party doesn't want it, it will not happen. It doesn't matter what we put up. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. So if you know people that live in rural areas, if you know people that live in suburban areas, you need to encourage your Democratic family members and friends to run for office. And that is the only strategy, in all honesty. Okay, let's see. To Hansel's point, House Bill 531 is a major concern, as well as Senate Bill 67, 71, and 93. Correct. The Republican Party has set an agenda for their elections and voting policy. What we can do is not vote on it. Some of the bills that are coming through may have actually some constitutional problems with that. So that's why we have partners like ACLU and Fair Fight and other organizations that put in NAACP that put the legal manpower behind the bills to actually take the bills to the judiciary system, which as legislators we're not able to do. And if I'm not answering those questions, raise your hand and I'll happy to expand more. So this is from Jake Roberts, Senate Bill 4, for reference to current bills supporting those experiencing substance abuse orders and those in long-term recovery at the community level. So I will write that down. I will look at it. The way bills, so the process, how does a bill actually become a bill? How does it become law? A legislator, whether it's a senator or a representative, has an idea, either from their own or from someone like you that emails them and says, hey, I want this to happen. We then go to the attorneys here. We tell them what we need. We're very specific. They give us a draft. We can change it. It's a lot of back and forth. Once we have it, then you have to walk around and get, if it's a general bill, we walk around and you don't have to get any signatures, or you can go get some signatures, which we call co-sponsors. Once you get your co-sponsors, then it goes to a committee. Some committees are so large they have subcommittees. So bills have to go through 2 committee processes. If it passes the subcommittee, then it goes to the rules. If it passes the rules, then it goes to the House floor. So for Senate Bill 4, since it's on the Senate side, say it goes through all of those procedures on a Senate side. When it gets to my side, it goes through all of those procedures again. So just because it passed the Senate side doesn't mean it's a bill. Now it has to go through all of our committees, our rules, and then our House floor. And if we vote no, if we vote a substitute, then it goes back to the Senate. So it's a lot of back and forth. And it's a lot of ways for a bill to die before it's a way for a bill to survive. But I will look at Senate Bill 4. For our community, if you don't know this, Senator Sonia Halpern, she would be someone that you want to reach out to and say, Senator Halpern, Senate Bill 4 is important to me. Please do a no vote for it. Okay, I'm going to go back to Carrie.
I I didn't have my hand raised. I think I probably forgot to put my hand down.
Okay.
So you can go ahead. I didn't have another question.
Okay, thanks. So this is from Tejas, and love Tejas. He is with our community's local Sierra Club, and in particular, he works on a lot of transportation issues. But his question is, this state site has good explainers on charter school funding. They do receive state funds, but in most cases do not receive local funds. So he put that in the chat for you guys. I want to also tell you, with these links that are in the chat, you should see 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, then you can hit save chat, and you can save all those chats without writing them. He goes on to say, and I'm reading this because we're on Facebook Live as well, APS and Fulton County schools operate under a charter system. They still get local and state funding, but they get some more flexibility in how they operate. The school boards are best way to influence how these systems work for us. Yes, amen, 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 amen. If you want to change something at the school, it really is your local school board. And I don't think that as a community we pay enough attention to who you're voting into a school board election. So, very important. Okay, this is from Naomi. Oh, Jesus. Inform President Biden that the KKK and black supremacist groups are working together for 30 years. Okay, let's see. I think what I want you to do, Miss Naomi, since this is a personal matter, email me and let's talk about that. I think that will be the best thing. And my email again is Mesha, MESHA .Mainor, MAINOR @house.ga.gov. Okay, thank you, Mr. Roberts. Okay, let me just do this. And for safety, I just want you guys to know, you can direct message me. For safety, I would not want anybody to put their phone number in a group chat, just for safety. Okay, so those are the questions for now. So I'm going to share my screen again to just give you an idea. Well, first, let's start with this. There's something called the Georgia Power RISE program, Residential Investment for Saving Energy Pilot Program. Can I see a thumbs up? Just saying that you guys do see this. Okay, perfect. What the RISE program is, they actually will go in, Georgia Power, and I say for free, but it's really not for free, but it definitely is a cost savings to it. So when I say for free, please know I'll explain the free part later. But for free, they'll go in and make your home energy efficient. This program, you can be a renter. If you move away from the home, this program stays with the home. It doesn't stay with the person that signs up for the home. It only works if you have high utility bills. So if you have a Georgia Power bill that's $200 or more, you most likely will qualify for this program, and it will decrease your bill, by say $50 or so per month. The way so they pay for making your home energy efficient on the front end, and then on the back end, you technically save about $100 a month, but they're taking $50 from that savings to reimburse themselves for the upfront costs, but you still are having an energy reduced price. So if anybody is interested in this Georgia RISE program, please email me and I will make sure you get the information to you. It's no information for me to give you. I have to contact the Georgia Power people because it's a pilot program, so they're actually not advertising it like that because they can only take but so many people within the entire city. And that is the Georgia Rise program. Just put in the subject line, Georgia Rise. And I'm going to just go through a couple of these programs, other programs that I've been working with. So, District 56, well, let's start here. These are the demographics for District 56. When you think about race, ethnicity, I'll make this bigger, not only so you can see it, but so I can see it too. So this is the statewide statistics for demographics. This is it for District 56. So District 56 is about half Black and half other. If we broke this down even more, let's just say 25% white, 25% another minority group. So since it is more than 50% white, I want to just make sure that everyone is aware about sickle cell. I'm going to set up an informational session on sickle cell disease by itself, and we'll do something in the community where you can do a swab and find out if you're a match. So just want to put out there, sickle cell is important, and there are resources for you. You can also go to bethematch.org/sickle cell. Tejas might like this. This is from the Sierra Club. And I put this up here because I want you to see people do contact us. So feel free, any single bill that you're interested in or that you want to start following, reach out to the people that are supporting it and let them know what your position is. And there are advocates like the Georgia Sierra Club that send us informational letters because, we can't be the experts in everything. So it is very helpful when community advocates send us information on why they think we should or should not vote for a certain bill. So a lot of times someone may say, well, I don't agree with you the way you voted on something, but I really might, most likely, I'm voting on data. I'm not voting anytime on a feeling. I'm voting on data. I did put this up. So this is from ACLU Georgia. If you can copy down these bills and you can search them, these are some bills that we are looking at as far as ballots and access. So it's House Bill 65, 77, and then Senate Bills 26, 38, and 99. I won't go into too many details on that, but this is just another example of the information that we get from community advocacy groups that really do the research for us so they can tell us if it's a good bill or if it's not a good bill. And it's more than one company that usually is giving us that data. So that's from ACLU. I'm throwing this one up here. This is the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators. So I have been, someone asked earlier, tell me more about House Bill 388. There are so many ways where we can lower your power costs if we move into a renewable energy state. So we are looking at data from experts. And so I don't know if people are aware, but the city of Atlanta has said their goal is to be 100% clean energy by 2035. And there are also national organizations that support this. and House Bill 388 will definitely help with that. We also get information from your county officials. So this is the legislative agenda. I'm not going to go into it, but this is the legislative agenda that was sent from Fulton County Board of Commissioners. So we are looking at information from a lot of sources. I put this in here because this is from Norfolk Southern. I have a lot of railroads in my district. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, heard about the Chattahoochee Brick project. And so just today, Norfolk Southern did decide not to go forward with that Chattahoochee Brick project due to the work of, our community leaders like Mr. Joe Beasley. Hold on, let's see, we got some questions. This is from Alma. Will you be working on low-income housing since the voters are being priced out of the Vine City and English Avenue areas that went up 40%? So I am. I actually am working on some construction legislation. It's a big bill because right now there is not anything related to this in the Georgia Code. And so what this bill is, it really creates new Georgia construction code. So builders can use shipping containers to build housing or commercial residences. So just to give you a ballpark idea, you can purchase a brand new shipping container for $6,000. And if you can stack them and, develop them out, and shipping container homes can be beautiful and they can be very economical. But right now, if someone wants to build with shipping containers, it's really based on a local jurisdiction. So this allows all jurisdictions throughout Georgia to be able to use shipping containers at an affordable rate. And Rustin, can you talk to us again about why you oppose measures that defund the police? You said you had experiences where the police didn't show up. It seems like the police is an institution, are not designed to protect property or people. Georgia has some of the highest incarceration rates in the world, and it doesn't seem to make it any safer. So those are two different things. So Georgia does have a Department of Corrections, which deals with our incarceration rates, and defunding the police is a local issue. I'll tell you why people were opposed to this. People were opposed to, there's something called home rule, and I'm a new legislator, so I'm learning this. Home rule means let local people do what they need to do for their constituents, because local people versus state or federal know what's best for their community than a higher branch of government. Interesting thing about that is home rule is only convenient when you want it to be convenient. So everybody that was against defunding the police because of, and I'm going to use these quotations, home rule yesterday, today they were for home rule because it was for something else. So if I'm going to vote on something, one, how I'm using my data is not going to flip back and forth. I'm going to always just use data. So as far as defunding the police, Antonio Brown's exact words were reimagine the police. And I support Antonio on that. I think police and law enforcement should be reimagined. He is right on target with that. Everything that he has visions for, I support our city council member Antonio Brown on that. I do not support if a system cannot come to my house when I call 911 taking money out of that law department. What I do support is redirecting funds from another agency to support mental health issues, because that is what the whole conversation was yesterday. Mental health, local rule, and police. They're all just one local rule that keeps flopping back and forth. So to me, that's null and void, because it can't sometimes work for you and sometimes not work for you. And then the other two variables left are public safety and mental health. Those are not the same things. Now, do we need mental health social workers or other professionals to help the police? Absolutely. I'm a healthcare provider. I'm a physical therapist. I did that for 20 years, going into people's houses. I've seen what people need. So as a healthcare provider and a therapist on top of that, I definitely support our allied health industry. Okay, let me see. You sit on Governmental Affairs Committee. Would you support legislation absolutely abolishing for-profit prisons? Yes. So, funny thing is, this Norfolk Southern, if you Google Norfolk Southern and the Chattahoochee Brick Company, the Chattahoochee Brick Company, back in the early 1900s, it was forced labor from prisoners. Why can you have forced labor of prisoners? Because it's a for-profit prison system. So yes, I'm against for-profit prison systems. Okay, there's a shipping container home in my neighborhood. I live in McDonough. It's nice. Yes, shipping container homes are very nice. And you have that shipping container in your home based on some local legislation, not on some state legislation. And so, not that you guys may be interested, but just so you know, throughout the world, people use the International Building Code. That's what Georgia bases its construction codes on. So my new shipping container laws are based on the same thing that Georgia already uses, the International Building Code. And we took from some other states best practices in our neighboring states, because a lot of times when you're introducing something, people will look at what are your neighboring states doing versus what is California doing. And so we took best practices from Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida. Okay, 5% is plenty decrease annually anyway. Okay, so I think he is saying what the bill says for the defunding the police. It says, the bill itself that was passed, it says you can take out up to 5%. So normally police are funded, some of the numbers they gave out yesterday, $28 million a year. So local boards can take, or local officials, they can take 5% of $28 million and put it towards mental health services if they want to. Okay, any chance that House Bill 60 will be expanded to include scholarships for students that attended a failing school, allowing students to attend schools that better meet their needs? Clantisha, yes, absolutely. That is what it's meant for. So House Bill 60, one of the requirements, you have to be 200% below the poverty level. 200% below the poverty level. So this is for people that are in situations where they are definitely in a marginalized community. So I grew up off of Simpson Road, which is now Joseph Boone. When I used to get off of the school bus, I actually used to run home because there were crackheads everywhere and it scared me. So for me, if I'm a smart student in a community where the schools are not good, not to any fault of their own, sometimes the schools aren't good because the kids are coming from just diverse socio problems that the school has no control over, right? So if it's a kid like me, I'm smart, I can get into a private school. House Bill 60 says we'll give you some funds so you can use that at another school, and then you use that other school to give you a scholarship, to give you another opportunity. At the end of the day, it really is about meeting a child where they are. And I hope that answers your question. Okay, Rustin, I have to leave, but thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Rustin. Any more questions? We are just about at the 1 hour mark. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Well, I appreciate you guys for joining me. I'm going to do this once a month. There's a lot. I'll show you this. I know you can't see it, but let's see. This is every agency within the state of Georgia. And so from the Commissioner of Insurance, the State Superintendent of Schools, Public Service Commissioners, Agriculture, Labor, Transportation, Natural Resources, the Veterans Board, the school systems for the colleges, financing and investment, pardons and paroles. We are working on a lot of things, so trust and know that if someone is not busy, I don't know how that's possible. But I'm here for you. I do also want to say, if you know anybody that is having problems with unemployment, give me a call and we can figure out what's going on with your particular claim. You can call 404-656-0126. People have reached out about rental assistance. There's not necessarily anything at the state level, but Councilmember Brown, his staff, they have given us some resources that we have been able to share with people. And if you just have a concern about a bill that's up, let me know what your concerns are, because otherwise I won't know. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining.